Hey YouTube, welcome back to another Balatro news video, or what I'm calling the state of Balatro. Now I know we've done a couple of these talking head videos in the past, but today we're going to do things a little bit different, and it's going to be a floating head video because it's early and I don't want to be on camera. But Local Thunk has been back at the Balatro Discord talking about potential changes, updates, nerfs, and buffs that are coming to the gameplay update later this year. Not everybody's in the Discord, so I thought I'd share some of these conversations because you might find it interesting and it'll give you a better insight as to what possibly could be coming in that gameplay update later this year. So we're going to be going over a lot of things in this video, so if you don't want to know anything about the gameplay update until it comes out, here's your spoiler warning. You have been warned, proceed accordingly. Now what I will say is, these are casual conversations that Thunk is having with the community. Not everything is going to be set in stone. As with everything that happens in life, things could change. So if you see something in this video that may not be the same when the gameplay update comes out, don't worry about it. It's okay. First off, let's start off with Blue Stake, everybody's favorite. Everybody loves Blue Stake. Everyone loves that -1 discard. Thunk also shares a similar sentiment, in which he says Blue Stake is horrible. Every other stake is good in my opinion. To which he later responded, I actually haven't done the Blue Stake rework yet, still trying to come up with a fun change for it. But I think the biggest issue that I have with Blue Stake is that it really kills 5-card hand strategies. A few days later, somebody mentioned that they love playing straights and they'd love to do it more often, but unfortunately, Blue Stake. To which Thunk replied, Blue Stake is the worst part of this game, and it isn't even close. Blue Stake change will be a massive shift in gold stake play. -1 discard is way too prescriptive for high probability hands. I want big hands to be more viable at high level play. What I think might happen with the Blue Stake change is that whatever it is replaced with will end up being less restrictive for higher stakes, so normal gold stake will be quite a bit easier because -1 discard is way too much. Now, a lot of people might be hearing this and hearing gold stake will be easier. Gold stake will still be a challenge. Gold stake will still be difficult to a lot of people. So while you may be hearing gold stake will be quite a bit easier, easier can also just mean different. Interested to see what changes are coming to Blue Stake, what different mechanics might be added, and this might be a way for a lot more people to get that C+ or C++, as gold stake and high level play might be a little bit more accessible because they're able to play things other than pair, 3 of a kind, etc. Now let's talk about some Joker changes. One that we specifically know already is getting a big change is Matador. If you don't know how Matador works, nobody does. If you don't know what Matador does, it gives you $8 if played hand triggers the boss blind ability. The problem is, it doesn't trigger every single boss. If you want some more information about the issues with Matador, I highly recommend you checking out Gothic Lord UK's video on it, as well as a section of Bellanos Bear's video where they both talk about what Matador actually works on and why. But in regards to that change in Matador, Thunk says, yeah, Matador is dumb. I'm fixing it. New effect. Later's Math is Fun asked, are there any Jokers in particular you plan on reworking? Like what is planned for Matador? To which Thunk replies, now that I'm trying to 100% the game, there are definitely balance changes to some numbers, but I don't know if there will be any big reworks. I'm going to do some balance changes to the existing content in the update, but it seems like some numbers will go up, some might go down, but overall there probably won't be big overarching changes to the way Jokers work. Later, somebody also made a really good suggestion. Local Thunk, I think some Jokers may be better than others in certain situations. Are there any plans to equalize the Jokers into all being +4 mult so they're properly balanced? To which Thunk replied, I love this suggestion. So what we may see in the update is, oops, all Jimbos. So look forward to that. By the way, this is a joke. It's not really happening. Just backspace your comment. Now moving on to the possibility of new Jokers. Thunk has said in the past that he wants to add some new Jokers later on in some updates, and now we have an official number of how many Jokers will be coming to the next update. To which Thunk said, I predict the new update will have at least 2 new Jokers. So C++ fans, buckle up. You got some new gold stake stickers to get on at least 2 new Jokers. But in terms of what those Jokers could be, Thunk did shed a little bit of light on that by stating, I am adding more food Jokers according to more foods I often crave. But that isn't news. That's what the old foods were too. So what I'm hearing is a possible 3rd evolution to banana called Super Cavendish. We also got some information about what type of Jokers will not be included in the update. Somebody asked, you know what would be a neat mechanic? If having certain combinations of Jokers fuse them together. To which Thunk replied, no Exodia Jokers. It's in my guidelines for Joker design, and there's a reason for it. Explicit synergies fly in the face of emergent game design, and that's the special sauce for Balatro. So unfortunately, you won't be able to send any boss blinds to the Shadow Realm by assembling all pieces of Jimbodia. Speaking of Jokers that aren't in the game, somebody asked the question, will we ever find out what that scrapped 151st Chaos Theory Jimbo did, or did it not get further than the art stage design? To which Thunk replied, this is so funny to me. I watched a video about it and the comments had all these crazy ideas for what they heard it did. First of all, that Joker never had a name, and in a later comment, he elaborated saying, nor was it ever implemented. But he did say that there are more unused Jokers apart from the ones that Lumpy did, so maybe we'll see those in the gameplay update. Now let's go from unused Jokers to unused stakes. Math is Fun asked, I know there's an unused Joker stake in the game files. Do you have any plans to ever add a 9th stake? I know current 8 feels complete, but just curious. To which Thunk said, oh, that thing. No, that was just for fun. So I don't imagine we see any further stakes other than gold stake in the future, but as with anything, things can change, and this is just speculation. But now let's move on to something that's not speculation. Wildcard buffs. Thunk explicitly said, let's just say that wildcards are getting a little bit of a buff. And later on in the conversation, someone said lovers are always a detriment, to which Thunk replied, not anymore. Wildcards will definitely not be the worst enhancement anymore. I want to see how they shake out, but I think it'll be pretty good. Someone asked if that meant that wildcards are getting a 2-card tarot buff, to which Thunk said, it won't need it. It'll be good with just 1. Wildcard buff is in my beta branch, and I am testing it. So look forward to wildcards doing more than just guaranteeing that your cards get debuffed on every boss blind that debuff suits, and really cooking with Olbap and Castle. Now let's move on to some unintentional mechanics that a lot of people use for a variety of different things, specifically money or tarot duping, and that's moving Jokers. It was asked if the pinned functionality is ever going to be used, to which Thunk replied, I just made that for Gothic Lord UK in his challenge suggestion. If you don't know what that is, it's the On Knife's Edge challenge, where there's an eternal pinned ceremonial dagger, and the pinned Joker is always in the leftmost position. To which later in the conversation, Thunk said, there's a few Jokers I made that mess with the ideal order of operations, and they're kind of stinkier than I thought they would be. Even Brainstorm feels bad sometimes, even though it's amazing. To which someone responded that there may be a little bit too many hoops to jump through to make it work properly, to which Thunk agreed and said, this is kind of how I felt about Blueprint Brainstorm, and why they don't work with the end round cash out effects. So things like Cloud9, Golden Joker, etc. I didn't want people to have to do a quick time event to move them around. I don't want any timing checks in the game, to which someone also mentioned that that's how Mime can work currently, where you can move Mime around with Blueprint and Brainstorm to get gold card cash out effects at the end of the round after scoring, which Thunk then said was an oversight and not intended. Someone also mentioned that forgetting to move Jokers around and missing out on buffs to, say, Hologram with Certificate and Marble Joker are kind of a bummer, to which Thunk responded, yeah, doesn't it feel bad? To which he later clarified, said, I mean, it's partially for accessibility, but also I just want to vibe. I think we've all been there with some of the higher score runs where we're needing to move Blueprint and Brainstorm around for Mime or Baron effects, or re-triggers with chat or photo, or trying to get max value out of your Perkio. That one extra round of forgetting to move around Jokers is kind of a bummer. And on the topic of unintended things, someone asked, do you have any plans on removing the Nan-Inf Anti-39 soft lock? To which Thunk replied, no, I think that's actually super sick. It was an accident, but it's kind of perfect. To which someone said, Nan-Inf is iconic at this point, which Thunk agreed and said, yeah, iconic. Someone also asked, how do you feel about save scumming? To which Thunk said, at this point, I've removed save scumming from most of the big spots I really didn't like. Now I think it is what it is. So all you Bean save scum enjoyers, rest easy. I don't think the Bean exploit is going anywhere anytime soon, but also I'm just guessing. Someone also made a suggestion about a new mechanic that could be added to an existing Joker. Egg should have a 1 in 100 chance to crack so that egg enthusiasts don't always get temperance value. To which Thunk responded, crackable eggs. If you've been keeping up with the driver's license discourse, we all know that on January 24th of this year, Jen Joker's driver's license did expire. There were demands in the Balatro Discord to get Jen to renew the license, to which Thunk responded, she's an engineer in Colorado, she's busy. She also uses mass transit, so doesn't mind having an expired license. So I don't think Jen Joker is going to be getting a real ID anytime soon. Now let's move on to the topic of mods. The mod community in Balatro is very vibrant. There's a lot of amazing and interesting ideas that are in the mod section, and I highly recommend you guys checking out mods. You can check some of that out on my channel if you want to see a little bit of preview of some of them. But in terms of mod support officially coming to the 1.1 update, Thunk said, I'm just going to let you know that there will be no official mod support for 1.1, but I wanted to discuss it here with folks. My question is, what does official mod support mean? What I don't think I can do is make a way for players to add mods directly from the game itself, since it's just Lua code. Math is Fun, which you may know them from Cryptid Mod and a lot of other different mods in the Balatro community, said, the current system we have with a tool that lets you inject code, lovely, and a mod library, Steam modded, already covers it, even if some changes need to be made every major update. To which Thunk responded, so something like Steam modded baked into the official game with no official mod browser. Thunk said, I would prefer to start with a quick win, like integrating some game changes that make your job easier. Maybe it's just a folder that you guys can drag and drop mods into. If you know anything about mods currently, they can be kind of a pain to manage. Granted, it is mostly already a folder inside the file structure Balatro, but there's a couple of hoops that you got to jump through to make sure things work properly. And they have been known to crash games, wipe save files, files, etc., etc. So there could be some changes coming to the way that Balatro is structured to make it easier to move those mods in and out without too much friction. And on the topic of mods, people have asked him in the past if he plays mods, to which he responded, "Hey, while you're here, I wanted to mention something because someone also asked earlier. I've been avoiding looking at or playing any mod for Balatro, not because I think they're bad or anything, but because while I'm working on the update, I don't want to outsource my design work. It's the most fun part. Don't want people to accuse me of stealing community designs when there's an inevitable accidental overlap, but says, I really wish I could dive into the modding scene, but I fear I could harm my actual work a bit. Everything I happen to see about the modding scene is pretty amazing." Later saying, "I'm looking forward to trying some mods at some point. It kind of sucks that I feel like I can't try any of them because people always tell me how great the modding scene is," which it absolutely 100% is. There's a lot of awesome, amazing, creative people in the modding community that come up with some really cool ideas. So I highly recommend you going to the Balatro Discord, checking out some of the mods and trying them for yourself. Speaking of mods though, somebody made a comment about potential ranked matches in Balatro, to which Thunk responded, "No Balatro multiplayer. There's a cool mod if you want that, but no official PvP multiplayer mode for this game, both for my sanity and also because I don't think it'd fit as an official feature. I'm not interested in making a PvP mode. Balatro was always meant to be a single player experience. And anti-cheat nonsense, all the back-end stuff, it's just not designed for it, and that Thunk loves it for what it is." Now on the topic of something Thunk would like to come to Balatro though, is an additional collab. Someone said Hades collab would be kick-ass, but what would be your personal dream collab? To which Thunk responded, Rocket League. So we've gone through a lot of things here. We've gone through mods, we've gone through stakes, we've gone through Joker changes. The burning question though, when is the update going to come out? To which Thunk responded, the update will be done when it's done, stating that they're not giving details about the big update because this is the way it gets both done the fastest and to the highest quality. To which someone made a joke. Every day someone asks local Thunk when the update is, he delays it by 1 more week. To which Thunk jokingly responded, honestly, like kinda. So for now, we have a lot of Balatro content that you can enjoy until the gameplay update comes out. But I must ask the question, what do you guys think? How do you think Blue Stake's gonna change? What do you think is gonna change about Matador? What do you think is going to be the buff to wildcards? Leave your comments and thoughts down below. And as always, I appreciate you watching. Let me know if you want to see more content like this in the future. Subscribe if you haven't already. Leave a like, I'd appreciate it a lot. And I hope you enjoyed it, and I'll see you in the next State of Balatro.